I have a lot of experience working on Wall Street, so that's how I first learned about Bitcoin and how I thought about it from the start. So I wasn't always looking at it from a scientific or a philosophical point of view. In fact, my first thought about it in 2011 was mainly, is this an asset class? There are $100 to $200 trillion worth of investable assets around the world, and they're all very competitive with each other. So if it's an asset class or a new asset class, the potential is huge. The private equity and hedge fund industries are both very competitive, and everyone in them wants to get ahead of the other people in their field. And if Bitcoin enters that market as an asset class and hedge funds start to do better because of their Bitcoin positions, a huge amount of money will flow into Bitcoin. That's where I think we are now. Max Keiser talks about why everyone should be careful when they buy gold, because many billionaires are said to be selling it for Bitcoin, and why he thinks that new types of assets like Bitcoin have huge promise. Keiser also says that people should have a certain view on Bitcoin. Max also talks about how countries around the world control all the gold that is seen as valuable so that their own currencies are safe. That means that even a small amount, 1% of that multi-trillion-dollar fund, changes the price of Bitcoin and drives it up a lot. People, including myself, have been making seven-figure predictions for years because it is an asset class. So if you get it to 5 to 10%, you can see it really move quickly toward those numbers. There is, however, the other side of things that we saw in the gold market, the futures market, does make it possible to control how prices are set and change prices. For 20 years, the price of gold has not kept up with inflation. This is because governments around the world don't like how gold makes their paper money look bad. That's why they make it easy for big funds to change the price of gold and keep taking gains from it, which is what they do almost every day. It's pretty clear, and you can watch it. Gold and silver prices stay low thanks to them very well. For every ounce of silver, there are probably 50 ounces worth of derivatives floating around in different exchanges around the world. These are used to keep the price of silver low because governments don't want gold to get ahead and draw money out of the fiat money scam and into gold. The power to pull our private keys is something that we can't really do with gold. People can technically take delivery of gold on these trades, but no one has ever tried to do it in a planned way. We tried to do it a few years ago with crash JP Morgan buy silver, because when JP Morgan bought Bear Stearns for almost nothing after the 2008 financial crisis, they took over a huge short position in silver worth millions of dollars that Bear Stearns had been managing for someone, probably the government. The government likes to stay active, so I did some math and saw that JP Morgan will go bankrupt if this short position wasn't covered and the price of silver reached $60 or $70.00 an ounce. So we started the Crash JP Morgan Buy Silver campaign and drove the price from $15 to $50, which was like the old bunker Hunt brothers in the 1980s. The Hunt brothers got it for around $50, and they were able to corner silver. We raised it back to the $50 level of the old Hunt brothers. Then the government stepped in and changed the rules overnight so that these banks could have and keep much bigger short bets in silver. So they made a lot of paper silver derivatives and stopped people from running away with their money. The price went back up to about $15. So we've seen that it is possible to make people give up in the silver market, but in the end, it's not possible to pull private keys like it is with Bitcoin. I don't think it will ever work, but you can play with your Bitcoin secret keys. That's why the late great, the former Bitcoin superstar Trace Mayer started a movement for people to take their keys off of exchanges every January 3rd. The goal was to keep things honest and stop these derivatives bubbles from getting too big to manipulate prices. Max Keiser, a veteran of Wall Street, talks about Bitcoin from a unique point of view, not from a technical or philosophical point of view, but as an asset class that could change the game. Now that big investors are recognizing Bitcoin's value, it could lead to a flood of investments. And goods like gold and silver can have their prices change, but Bitcoin's features like the ability to pull private keys make it much harder to do this. As the old currency system falls apart, a new era of money starts to take shape, led by Bitcoin. Keiser's ideas shed light on Bitcoin's ability to change the way financial systems work, giving people more control over their own money and shaking up long-standing power structures. Short position to skim, say 1% every 2 days forever, right? These banks are willing to take that chance. But Bitcoin, if BlackRock, the Saudis, or someone else said, we're placing an order for 500 Bitcoins, and the price went from $30,000 to $120,000, you'd lose everything if you were short. So it's really going to be off. It will be hard to keep up a group that tries to keep Bitcoin prices low because the upside is so huge. Every coin is worth millions of dollars. Because of this, at least one of these people will always leave the group. You know what? You won't be able to set up a gang. That's one good thing about Bitcoin. It's also simple to get the keys out. And finally, there is the continuing collapse of the world of fiat money taking place in the background. That is to say, the world of fiat money is at the end of a 300-year experiment that began with the Bank of England. Also, this thought of fiat money might work. After 300 years, we know that it never works. They all end in zero. None of them have ever lived or lost 99% of their value. It looks like we're moving into a new era where fiat money will no longer be used. Central banks are putting out CBDCs as a way to try to make fiat money more useful. It's not going to be able to battle Bitcoin. It will be seen as the way to get away from CBDCs, control, and all the other things that come with it. And they will keep supporting Bitcoin as a way to achieve freedom in the economy and in life in general.